What do you think of when I say the word stewardship? I don't know about you, but I always used to just think of this one little slice of my life, charitable giving. Well, in 1 Corinthians 10:31, it says, "So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God." Now, if you believe that God really does own everything, and that it's our job to wisely and carefully manage all that we've been given according to His will, if He really cares about the little details of our life, then really we should be investing in a way that would please and glorify God. And at Beacon Wealth Consultants, we call that biblically responsible investing. And that definition comes from a group called Kingdom Advisors, and that is an organization that trains financial professionals to use biblical principles in their practice. Now, something you've probably never thought much about is investing and how your dollars are working in the market. The market has become a very abstract concept. We say, I'm going to invest in the market. And we forget that we are actually putting our money directly into companies and helping them to grow. So the reason that companies issue stock is so that they can grow and do more of what they're already doing. So when you are investing in that company, you are literally saying, I love what you're doing and I want to help you do more, and let's make a boatload of money together doing that. So if that's true, then I had a question. Does God care how I invest my money? Or really, the better question is, does God care how I invest His money? Well, I think the easiest example to go to is in the Bible, and if we look at the parable of the talents. And in this story, who gets rewarded the most? The servant who had the highest returns, right? The servant who buried his money in the ground, the master took his money and gave it to the servant with the highest returns. So from that story, if we only look at that story, we could say the only thing that God really cares about is that we have the highest returns. However, we can make the most money. That's what really matters, right? Now, do you think that's really how God looks at it? Well, let's look at an example. Let's say there are two companies you could invest in. The first company, you would make a 5% return, and they manufacture children's clothes. The second company, you would make a 10% return, and they provide adult escort services. That seems like a pretty silly example, right? Pretty obvious, but I make it for a point. I think God really does care how we invest our money. In fact, in Deuteronomy 23:18, it says, "You must not bring the earnings of a female prostitute or a male prostitute into the house of the Lord your God, because the Lord your God detests them both." So if you're thinking, I don't really know what I'm invested in, but I'm just going to tithe the profits and then that'll make it okay, I think this passage really says that that is not okay and that God does not want that money. And He really does care how we make our money. So an obvious question now might be, how do I know? How would I even know what businesses I'm invested in and what the practices are that they're involved in? Well, at Beacon Wealth, we do a screening of your portfolio where we can show you exactly what companies you're invested in and what the business practices of those companies are, and what percentage of your portfolio is going towards each of those different business practices. It could be abortion, pornography, alternative lifestyles, anti-family entertainment, and many others. So I think the question that you might still be having is it really possible to invest this way and still make money? Well, there was a study done by the BRI Institute. You can check them out at briinstitute.com. And they did a back test of the S&P 500. And what they did is they sorted companies into companies that would pass BRI screens and those that would not. And they labeled them the saints and the sinners. And they graphed their performance over time to see the outcome. And the truth of the matter is, sometimes the sinners are a little ahead and sometimes the saints are a little ahead, but they are very close always. And that was just a back test. And of course, that does not guarantee future performance, but it gave me some comfort that if I invested this way, I was at least going to be in the same ballpark. Now, You probably now know a little bit more about BRI, but I encourage you to learn more. There are many books on the subject, and you might even believe that it's the right thing to do. But there's really then only one thing left to do, and that is to take some action and to actually have your portfolio screened. In James 1:22, he says, "Don't just listen to God's word, you must do what it says. Otherwise, you are only fooling yourself." I encourage you to find out more by having your portfolio screened, and then by talking with your financial advisor about how you can invest in a way that would please and glorify God. You can go to beaconwealth.com and click on the button that says Screen My Portfolio. We will send you a free report to let you know what business practices you're investing in, and then one of our advisors will be happy to follow up and answer any questions that you might have. Have a blessed day.